All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the official podcast of the MLWB Paintin Corners. Today, it's myself, James Thrillo, and I'm here with Cody Pearson. A little bit of a different layout today, or a different format, whatever you want to call it. Normally, we don't sit next to each other like this. A little something different for
first time for everything.
Yeah, there you go. We got what is this? Royals Phillies in the background.
Oh, there's me.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, we got a new little setup. I got my Nick Volpe jersey right here hanging up. Shout out Nick. He's still in Italy. He's normally our other host, but yeah, he's not here for I think it's the second straight or third straight episode. He's not able to make it, but it's okay. We'll have him back for next week. But as of right now, it's just Cody and I. We're gonna recap week 3, and it was a busy week,
crazy week
in the MLWB, to say the very least.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about it, like. I like to have a player of the week every week, right? Week 1, it was Joe Lemley, and week 2, it was Joe Lemley.
Yeah.
Week 3, who the heck is it supposed to be? Because Joe Lemley threw a perfect game and hit 3 homers.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, he's got it locked up.
But then Ryan Moser had a hitless series,
No
and
hit
he had
series.
2 homers that were both basically the walk-offs.
Yeah, and then you get to Eric Scully, who just dominated at the plate and hit 4 homers.
So
I think those are your finalists for.
It's a rough one this week. It's hard.
I'm gonna let you decide. Who's player of the week for week 3, Cody?
Player of the week, I think you have to go Ryan Moser.
Okay, I like that. Ryan Moser, player of the week, week 3. Congratulations, Ryan. So, I mean, now my Dodgers play him this week. We're going to have our hands full.
That's Ryan. A big series for sure.
It's a huge series. We start out, week 3, we start out with Yankees-Brewers. It's rivalry week, for those that don't know. Yeah. Originally, when we made the schedule, we thought Logan Gaffney was going to be the captain of the Yankees. So would have been, Logan versus, Joe and his buddies, but it would have been more fitting. But we still got,
Joe versus Monge.
There you go. There you go. But it ended up being all Brewers in that series, to say the very least. The Brewers win game 1, 14-0, and then they win 6-0. Joe Lemley, the first player in MLWB history to throw a perfect game with 2-out innings. So congratulations to Joe Lemley on making history.
Stat.
That is a crazy stat, because for those that don't know, our new fans, or even guys in the league who didn't know this that are new to the league, we used to do 1-out innings from season 6 through season 11. We did 1-out innings, and there were a lot of perfect games, no hitters, of course, because you only need 5-6 outs depending
on
that
hard.
Right. But this is a great accomplishment from Joe, the first person to throw a perfect game in 2-out innings in league history. So congratulations to him. And then we get to Ryan Moser, who he's like, okay, you throw a perfect game, I'll top that. I'll throw 2 no-hitters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What's better, 1 perfect game or 2 no-hitters? It's tough, right?
It is tough. Probably 2 no-hitters,
I guess, right?
That's 2 wins. You'd think.
Right.
You'd think.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 wins. And then, but Joe also had 2 wins on the mound. The second game, I think he gave up 2 hits, which, not far off from a no-hitter or a perfect game.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah, that's crazy. It's just crazy.
I mean, you get, in our league, we got 5-inning games, 2 outs in an inning. So you need 10 outs. He had 9 strikeouts. It's pretty crazy. He struck out every batter but 1, and it was the last batter of the game that didn't strike out. Teo Mayorga grounded out to complete the perfect game. You could actually see Joe Lemley go like, "Oh no, I wanted to strike out every batter." He was actually like mad at himself, which is
he was talking to me about that later when he came for the Rays Dodgers series. He was like, "Yeah, I was 1 away from getting striked out every batter, but then he put it into play." I was like, dang.
We already had never had a perfect game before, and then you have a perfect game where you strike out every batter, which has happened before, but in 1-out innings, not 2-out innings. So that would have been even more history from Joe Lemley, but I mean, getting a guy to ground out is just as good. I mean, 9 strikeouts in 5 innings is just absurd anyways. Yeah. That's absurd in, the MLB where they have 3 outs. This is 2 outs, and he was still able to strike out 9. So great stuff from Lemley. And not only is he the clear-cut favorite for NL Cy Young, he also leads the league in home runs and RBIs.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's got 7 home runs and 20 RBIs so far through 6 games, leads the league, and he currently, out of any pitcher that has thrown at least 10 innings, he is second in ERA with a .34 ERA, only behind Ryan Moser, who has a 0 ERA through 10 innings. But Lemley's thrown 29 innings. Yeah. So you could argue Joe has been the best hitter and the best pitcher in the league this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's a huge reason why the Brewers are in first place, sitting comfortably at 6-0.
Yeah.
So another thing about the Brewers, they dominate the Yankees, right? And then we jump to week 4 a little early. The Yankees play the Phillies, and they get swept once again. We know that the Yankees going in might not have been exactly one of the favorites to win the whole thing, but are we counting them out now, or are we saying, what are we saying with the Yankees now?
Yeah, I don't think they're playoff bound. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Right.
I think that if they were, they would have had to sweep that series, because going into that, both those teams had one win, and it was really to save both their seasons, and the Phillies came out.
Yeah. And I mean, that also leads us to the Phillies. Are the Phillies, do we count them out yet? Because they're only, 2 games out of a playoff spot?
Yeah, I don't think you can count them out quite yet. It's close, but I think they still have a little bit of a chance.
I think I don't want to say this as the captain of the Dodgers. I don't want to, think about this hypothetical scenario, but let's say the Astros sweep the Dodgers this weekend.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are going to be 4-4. The Phillies are a game out at 3-5.
Yeah, they're right back in it if that happens.
So, yeah, and then that also brings us to a team that also got swept in week 3, and that was the Pirates.
Yeah.
That's another team that we need to ask this question. Are we counting the Pirates out for 2025, or do they still have a chance, Cody?
I think it depends on whether or not their captain Braden starts trading their pieces. Because I think he has a decision to make here: either re-sign all his players and just try and get better for next year, or trade away his players and get a better draft pick.
Yeah. If you're Braden McCabe, what do you do?
I think I stick with these guys. I think you had a rough starter schedule. It played like the 3 best teams in the league.
True.
And your guys are still young, rookies or like second years. So I think you re-sign them and run it back. I think you still have a solid roster.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that. They definitely have a solid roster. They have the pieces to win, but it's just that they have run into the 3 best teams in the league. They played the Dodgers, they played the Brewers, and the Astros. And now they play the Rays.
Yeah. So
those are the top 4 teams in the league.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's the old saying, to be the team, you got to beat the team. And they did beat the team. The first game of the season, they beat the Dodgers. So after that game, you're thinking, okay, the Dodgers haven't lost a regular season game since 2022. And the Pirates just beat them 3-1. And they kind of made it look easy. Like, they shut us down.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, even after they lose game 2 to us and they're 1-1, you're thinking, okay, the Pirates are legit.
Yeah.
But since then, they've lost 4 in a row, and they've been shut out in 3 of those games. Not to say the Pirates aren't legit, but if you want to be a contender like they wanted to be, you have to be able to hang with other contenders, and they just haven't been able to do that.
Yeah.
So it was great that they were able to split with the Dodgers. If I'm a Pirates fan, I'm taking that. And then you go play the Brewers, you get swept. Okay, not great, but there's always next week. Then you don't get a hit in the whole series against the Astros.
Yeah.
Is it time for Braden McCabe to say, like, hey, let's start moving pieces to get ready for next year? Or do you still try to go all in? Because going into the season, if you ask Braden McCabe what the Pirates' goal is for the season, it's not, let's try to squeeze into the playoffs again. No, they wanted to win. They wanted to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
And hey, the season isn't over. Jack Ivins has been great on the mound. I think Graziano, Martini, and McCabe will all heat up at the plate eventually. But it's kind of like, it's kind of how it is like in the NFL, right? You only play a certain amount of games.
Yep.
And you can't take 9 games to heat up when you play 17. Like in this, you can't take 6 or 8 games to heat up when you play 12.
Yeah.
If you want to make
it's just
the playoffs.
not going to happen.
Right. So it's very different to how it is in the MLB, where, if you have like a 9-game slump, all right, you got 153 games left. You're going to be fine.
You're going to be okay.
It's very different. And that's kind of like the best part about, only having a 12-game schedule every year, because it shows you that, who's legit, and anything can happen, because you can get on a hot streak. Like, one year it happened. The Red Sox were 0-7 in our league. They won their last 3. They squeezed in the playoffs. They ended up winning the World Series.
Dang.
So anything can happen. That was back when it was a 10-game schedule. Now it's 12, so it's not much different. But to answer my own question, I don't think I'd count the Pirates out, but I do think it depends on what happens against your Tampa Bay Rays this week.
Yep.
If hypothetically the Pirates were to get swept or even split against the Rays, I think if they get swept, I think they need to sell at the deadline. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I think they need to sell at the trade deadline. And if you're McCabe, who do you trade?
I think you obviously keep Jack. He's the star of your team.
Of course.
I think you trade Martini. And I think if you get the right stuff, you could trade Vinny Graziano, but I know Braden really likes Vinny.
He does. And he likes Martini too. It's just
yeah.
If this is the team, you've played the best teams in the league, and if let's say they get swept this week, not saying it's going to happen, but let's just say hypothetically, right? They're going to be 1-7 after playing 8 games.
Yeah.
Even if they win out, 5-7 is not going to be a playoff team in the National League.
No,
it's not going to happen. So they need to win out to have a chance. They could win out and still not make it, but they could win out and squeeze in. But if you drop a game this week to Tampa Bay, I think moves have to be made for the Pirates. And if you trade Martini, what do you think they get? A first-round pick for next year?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, now if they trade Graziano, what do you get?
A first and another player.
Yeah.
Or not even a first, just like a better player straight up.
Right. It's just tough because he has to hold on to Jack Ivins. He hasn't re-signed any of them. I think he has to re-sign Jack because Jack is a top 5 pitcher in this league.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, I played with them on Team Italy. We were giving the Pirates their flowers all offseason on this podcast, saying how we thought Jack would be a Cy Young candidate, and I still think he is.
Yeah.
And did we expect the Pirates to have a better record? Yes, but season's not over, and we'll just have to wait and see. So Pirates fans, hang in there. I think the Buccos will be all right, but it all depends on how they do this week against Tampa Bay. If they can take 2 wins, then they're right back in it.
Yeah.
Like if they sweep the Rays and the Dodgers get swept by the Astros, they're a game out just like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wait and see. It's gonna be a very, very important week. We have to go over week 4. We have Dodgers Astros at 11 o'clock on Sunday, and then after that we have Pirates Rays. Brewers Royals has been postponed, but there is a new rule that's preventing that, and we already had Phillies Yankees for week 4. We played that early. So we only have 2 series this Sunday. Brewers Royals will get made up. You want to explain the new rule with the availability issues, or do you want me to go over that?
All you.
All right. So pretty much there's been a new rule in the league. We haven't posted on Instagram yet. We'll probably get to that. But the whole point of this season was for it to be a Sunday league, right? And the new rule basically is if you have 0 players on your roster free to play on Sunday, then your team takes the losses rather than what we've been doing where let's say, just for example, if it was Dodgers Rays last week and my Dodgers all couldn't play and we were just like, all right, let's just make it up, another time. But then the other time we make it up, the Rays are missing like Dylan Yeager or something.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's not fair to them because they were free for the scheduled game and we weren't, and now they're getting punished, which isn't fair. So if that were to happen in the future where no Dodgers are free, the Dodgers would take the losses for that series. We never want to see anybody forfeit, but I think this is the right rule because I think if, you don't want somebody, I'll use the Dodgers again for an example. Like, let's say if Dylan Lawyer couldn't play 1 week and we were just like, oh, none of us can play because Dylan Lawyer can't, then, it's kind of not fair because we don't want to play without him, which obviously we wouldn't do, but just an example. But that's pretty much the new rule. So if you see any teams receive automatic losses in the future,
that's why.
That's why. It's not if we're not posting scores or something, that's probably why. So yeah. You want to go over the stats real quick, the stat leaders, because there's a lot of.
Did we finish recapping all the games?
Oh yeah, we can. What didn't we recap? We pretty much talked about. We did Yankees Brewers. We pretty much did Pirates Astros.
Yeah.
Ryan Moser, no hit series, walk off home run, game winning home run in game 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
what more can you say?
Well, don't bet against Ryan Moser. It's really all you can say.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be, I don't want to say, well, I'm trying to think of the right word. As the captain of the Dodgers who play the Astros this week, you have your hands full with Ryan Moser and Paul Cincata. They don't have their captain, Charlie Jones, but they will have the two-man lineup with Cincata, who's second in the league in RBIs, and then Ryan Moser, who has a 0 ERA. It's not going to be an easy series, to say the least.
It's a good duo.
I think you could argue these are the two best teams in the league. It's not going to be easy, and it's a World Series rematch, so there's going to be a sour taste in their mouth from last year as well.
Yeah.
So Astros sweep the Pirates. They're 4-0. This is the second year in a row they start their season 4-0 after 4 games. Then we get to Dodgers-Rays.
Great series.
Great series. As painful as it is for me to say, because, looking back on it, after you take game 1, you think, man, like it would have been nice to take both games. But
yeah.
For the sake of, if you're not a Ray like Cody is or a Dodger like I am, if you're, neutral, heck of a series to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know you were there watching your teammates. I know with your injury, you're still out until week 5. But how was it to see Eric Scully and Dylan Yeager perform on Sunday and get back on track with the win?
It was incredible. Being able to see Eric heat up like that and then taking away the first inning of each game, Yeager was electric. Like
he was unhittable.
He was unhittable. Take away those first innings of each game. So it was just crazy to see those veterans who had played together so long just click in and win a game that they needed.
And it's crazy to see how, like, even the game we won, game 1, we win 4-2. We put up 4 runs in the first inning because of a Logan Gaffney home run and a Dylan Lawyer home run. You go back to 2023, World Series Game 5, we put up 5 runs in the first inning. We win the game 5-2. After that first inning, Yeager was lights out. We couldn't touch him, but we jumped on him early, and the same thing happened 2 years later in the regular season. It's just kind of funny how that works, And then even in game 2, the game we lost, Dylan Lawyer hits a home run in the first, and we don't score again. If you take away the first inning, Yeager didn't give up any runs.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane. So thankfully, we were able to jump on him early and take the first game. I do blame myself for not sweeping that series. Can't give up 5 home runs in a series and expect to sweep. Yeah. That can't happen. I've got to be better, especially against left-handed hitters. I have to be better. Graziano played well against me week 1. Halpin killed me week 2. And I think it's safe to say Eric killed me in week 3. I think that's safe to say. At this point, I don't trust me in the moment. I didn't find it funny, but looking back on all you can really do is laugh about it, because Eric for sure is one of the best players to ever play in this league. And he certainly had my number in week 3. Yeah. So the Dodgers and Rays split on Sunday at Wiffle Ball. We now have the Astros. They have the Pirates. So they're rooting the Rays, even though, it's probably the biggest rivalry in league history. As much as, I love Eric and Yeager and how much I respect that organization. And I at least think they feel the same way about us.
Yeah.
It is a great rivalry. And this week, the Rays are going to be rooting for us to beat the Astros.
For sure.
And just in case the Pirates get hot, we'll be rooting for you guys too.
Oh, yeah, there
just
you go.
To beat our National League rivals, of course.
There you go.
So it's not often you see the Dodgers and Rays rooting for each other.
Yes, on the same week.
Yeah, and on the same week. That's for sure. So that's pretty much a recap of week 3. It was the first ever rivalry week, and I think it was definitely a success. It was the most games played in one day in MLWB history.
There you go.
All 8 teams played 2 games, so there were 8 games. That set a record. There were a lot of records set. Joe Lemley, perfect game. Ryan Moser, no-hitter series. And then 8 total games in the same day. Pretty cool stuff. And it shows you that the league is going in the right direction. Because, there used to be times where, we wouldn't have a set schedule, and it was like, all right, opening day is March 20th, and then the next series would be like April 15th because just nobody was free. And we would wait like 2-3 weeks to play another series. Now you're guaranteed wiffle ball every week, and it's pretty fun.
It's great.
So now we go to week 4. We pretty much talked about the series that are going to happen. Pirates, Rays. It's a must sweep for the Pirates, or their season pretty much, their playoff chances are pretty much gone. For the Rays, though, let's say the Rays sweep and they're 5-3. You need the Dodgers to win, and they still play the Astros later in the season. How confident are you coming back that the Rays can still win the division?
I'm pretty confident. I think that the Dodgers, I think they're at least going to take one game from the Astros. I have confidence in that. And when the Rays play the Astros, that's my first series back. So I'm going to be looking to make some damage. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's gonna be great for the Rays to have you back, and that's gonna be their biggest series of the year.
Yeah.
Because week 5, it kind of just so happened to work out this way, but we have Rays Astros. That series is probably gonna give you a pretty good clue of who's gonna win that division.
Yeah.
If someone sweeps that series, they're pretty much division champs.
Yeah.
And then the same week you have Brewers Dodgers.
Yeah,
which is also probably going to be for the division.
That's a big week.
The Brewers technically could have the division locked up before then. If we get swept and they sweep, there'll be 4 games and 4 games to go. They'll pretty much have it locked up. But if we can beat the Astros, and if we're a game or 2 behind them going into the series with them, we could have a legit shot at winning the division. We've never not won the division in our franchise history.
That's crazy.
Of being a team. So
it's going to be a movie.
We would